In this digital storytelling project, our group explored the life and legacy of Indigenous veteran, the Honorable Francis Pegahmagabow. Let's take a moment to witness and honor the memories of Indigenous veterans of Canada in World War I and II. Remembering Honorable Francis Pegahmagabow. He was one of the most exceptional soldiers in Canadian history, a member of the Wasakusane First Nation and an Ojibwe sniper. He served with unmatched bravery during the First World War. Despite facing racism, discrimination, and limited rights at home, he risked his life for a country that did not respect his people. His story is one of courage, resilience, and leadership.
The Honorable Francis Pegahmagabow was born on March 9th, 1889, in Georgian Bay, Ontario. He was raised with strong values rooted in Anishinaabe Nishabi Indigenous culture. Francis Pegahmagabow served as a member of the Caribou clan. His values were strong within his Indigenous background. Francis Pegahmagabow was the proud husband to Eva Torrance. They raised six beautiful children together. They had four sons and two daughters. Pegahmagabow devoted his life to supporting and advocating for his Indigenous culture. While he worked hard to contribute to his country, he also maintained and honored his tradition and heritage, which required significant personal sacrifices. Determined to protect his people's freedom, Francis volunteers for the First World War, carrying his culture and values into the battlefield. As an Indigenous man, Pegahmagabow was not treated as an equal, and First Nations people were often denied the same rights and recognition as others in the community. This strengthened his commitment to fight for his freedom and advocate for his people. Pegahmagabow demonstrated resilience, leadership, and commitment to preserving his culture, rights, and well-being of the Anishinaabe people.
The First World War lasted from 1914 to 1918 and was fought between the Allies, Britain, France, Russia, US, and the Central Powers, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Ottoman Empire. The war began after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The war introduced new weapons like chlorine gas, machine weapons, and heavy artillery, along with trench warfare, leading to millions of casualties. Canada fought in the First World War as part of the British Empire, and more than 600,000 Canadians enlisted. Among them were over 4,000 Indigenous volunteers who served despite facing discrimination at home. Francis fought in several major battles, including the Second Battle of Ypres, where he survived a chlorine gas attack. At Somme, he was badly wounded, but he returned to the front and later served at Passardelli and the Battle of Scarpe. His skill and courage made him one of the most effective snipers and scouts of the war. Despite his service, he returned to a country that still discriminated against indigenous people. Under the Indian Act, indigenous veterans were denied full citizenship, fair pensions, and land rights. Francis's story shows both remarkable bravery overseas and the inequality indigenous soldiers faced at home. Francis's life spanned a time of great change and struggle for Indigenous people in Canada, from the creation of the Indian Act in 1876 to his recognition as a National Historical Person in 2014. Here are the important key dates in his journey and the broader historical context. Francis's bravery, discipline, and exceptional skill as a sniper and a scout earned him deep respect from his comrades. Despite racism in the ranks, his performance forced others to look beyond prejudice. He received the Military Medal and two bars, an honor held by only 39 Canadians. On the battlefield, Francis proved that ability, courage, and character matter far more than race, becoming someone his fellow soldiers trusted and depended on. After the war, Francis returned home to a country that still treated Indigenous people as second class citizens. He was denied full citizenship, a Soldier Settlement Act loan, and fair access to veterans' benefits, despite being one of Canada's most decorated soldiers. His pension and financial claims were delayed or blocked, and he wasn't even allowed to communicate directly with the federal government. Instead, every request had to go through Indian agents who controlled how he spent his own disability pension. After returning from the war, Francis faced deep systemic racism. He was dismissed as a troublemaker and even called a mental case to weaken his authority as an indigenous leader. Despite his heroic service, he lived in poverty, struggled with lasting effects of chlorine gas, and received little medical help. He continued to challenge discriminatory policies and fought for indigenous rights and self governance. His recognition as a National Historic Person came only decades later, showing how long racism hid his true achievements.
Francis Pegahmagabow served two terms as the Supreme Chief of the National Indian Government. He was a highly effective sniper and scout in the First World War. He was Canada's most decorated Indigenous soldier. After returning home, he faced discrimination and strict regulation under the Indian Act, despite his voluntary service. His advocacy became nationally important. He fought for the rights of the Indigenous people. His leadership extended nationally. He was part of the e- of efforts that resulted in the founding of the North American Indian Brotherhood. He became a respected community leader who tried to address numerous treaty transgressions. His medals and headdress are part of the permanent exhibit at the Canadian War Museum. He is remembered as a leading advocate for First Nations rights. His bravery was proven as he earned the military medal and two bars for his bravery on the battlefield.